Today I am going to do the fun and interesting understanding of the intellectuals. So I'm going to read what an intellectual light path is and what an intellectual dark path is. And also, who is the intellectual SolePath? I'm reading it out of the book that my dearest friend, Dr. Deborah Ford, had written, The SolePath Book of Knowledge, Book 1. And yes, there are 2 books out now. Very exciting. You can purchase this book on Amazon at our website at the SolePath Institute. That's SolePath.org. So let's get started. So great. The intellects is our world's greatest mind. I am a dark intellectual expert. So is my boyfriend is a dark intellectual expert. And both of my podcast directors are light intellectual experts. So we make a really great team. So what is the intellectual light path? Intellectuals are the world's great minds. You respond to the world with logical thought and considerable intelligence. It may be likely that our traditional school system has let you down, so you may not really understand your great mental capacity. You can trust your ability to get things through, to think things through, and your thought processes are very reliable. There really isn't anything you can't solve when you give yourself enough time and put your mind to it. Your mind points you in the right direction because when you clearly think things through, you always know what to do. You definitely get into difficulty when you don't trust this or allow the opinions of others to get in the way. So what is the intellectual dark path? When you are experiencing your intellectual category from a place of collapsed energy, the overall negative is arrogance and feeling that everyone else is an idiot. You think that you are the only one who is right, and you don't mind making others feel stupid. You use your considerable intellect to tear down and criticize rather than build up and create. You are good with words, and instead of using language to make others feel good, you often take on a condescending tone. It takes you a while to realize that saying the same thing, but in a louder, more irritated voice, doesn't usually make what you are saying easier to understand. Yet when you are experiencing your intellectual category from a place of expanding energy, you contribute to our world with your considerable intellect and your amazing ability to think things through. To me, I love listening to intellects. I can tell when they're in their light and when they're dark. And when they're in their light, what they speak is something that they have studied, or they have had considerable time to think things through. So knowledgeable, and you can just feel their enthusiasm, their brightness, their knowingness of what they've learned and what they want to share. So who is the intellectual SolePath? People with an intellectual SolePath are inherently curious and connected. This means that you are an intellectual person who is curious, needs time to process, and is unique and is kind. And there are 5 words that go with the intellectual category. The first one, intellectual, of course. You are very smart. Acknowledge your intelligence to yourself and allow others to do the same. You are a linear thinker who responds to the world with logic and brain power. Celebrate your brain power But be cautious about it when this dips over into arrogance. You won't be full of ego, self-importance, superiority, or pride if you think that your intellect is acknowledged. You rely on your intellect. You are truly one of the world's greatest minds, a deep thinker who requires encouragement and accesses to your intellect. Next word, curious. You ask so many questions. You are curious and connected and are always thinking, always moving, and always wondering why. Sometimes this is simply exhausting for you, and sometimes for those around you too. That's okay. On a day without pressure, with lots of time, you have time for all of this questioning. But on the other more stressful days, when you have time constraints, this must be put on the back burner so that you can meet your obligations. Your questioning indicates your wonderful, curious, and inquisitive mind that you have. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate your curiosity. Process. You need time to think things through. There really isn't anything you can't solve when you are given enough time and put your mind to it. It's very valuable. But you need time to process your thoughts. There can be nothing more damaging to your self-esteem than when you are not given time to think things through and are then criticized after the fact. Allow the time to go through your process at your space and time. But be kind to others and do let them know that you do need time to think things through. Not everyone does know that you're a highly intelligent person who needs time to think things through. Fourth word for the intellectual category, unique. You do not think in the same way that others do. In fact, it's almost guaranteed that you will think in a way that is unique and different. Find the space and opportunity to do it your way. You will feel exploited and taken advantage of if you are not given the opportunity to do it in your own unique way. Be who you were born to be. Traditional learning environments may be too restrictive for you. School could have likely let you down. Bring in other learning opportunities and styles to stimulate your great mind. Find environments that will celebrate and stimulate your mental capacity. In a negative learning environment, you will be bored and even disruptive. So great awareness. Really honor yourself. Own it. The last word for the category of intellectual of the 5 main words is kind. Kindness and generosity are natural parts of who you are. With your strong personality, you just sometimes forget. Gentle reminders to be kind may be needed. You may withhold your love and appreciation in an attempt to get your own way. Be watchful of this. Always model kindness and generosity. Not everyone's a fool. Remember, we all will feel something in some way without words being said. So let's go into insights into the intellectual soul path. Guidance system. The guidance system for intellectuals is your brain. You can really trust your mind. First, you need to give yourself time to think things through and then act on your logical thought. Your thoughts are the reliable guide for you. Intellectuals must look at all facts and take the time to think it through properly. Key life experience? The key life experience for intellectuals is to believe in your intellect. And SolePath is one way that helps you uncover your social intent as an intellect. Insights into your intellectual key life experience. You are mentally excellent. And if you have been let down by the education system, you could have no knowledge of your own intellectual ability. You are one of the world's best minds, and when given time, your thought processes are completely reliable. But coupled with your intellect comes a possible lack of common sense, and you can have difficulty in social situations. The vital role for intellectuals is to include and accept others. We need people. We need people so we can share, we can talk. Take action to focus on sharing blessings and be kind. Connection. When intellects connect spiritually to what is more than their physical body, you have a connection to all thought that has gone before and exists as energy. Isn't that just profound? You come in for the souls who chose to have an intellectual experience, whether it be the controller, the expert, or the intellectual lateral thinker. You have that innate connection. Your brain is stimulated already. It's just now you're experiencing it in a physical form. And to remember these tools and always be kind, but really trust your thought process and allow yourself time. Knee-jerk reaction sometimes is not the best intellectual move. The nature of the intellectual soul path. The learning style for an intellectual is you're an auditory talker. With an intellectual soul path, you process information primarily through hearing and then talking it out. You must be able to hear what is being said with limited outside distractions. You then need the opportunity to talk about it in order to understand. You use your listening and repeating skills to sort through information and retain knowledge. Your thinking style. You're a logical linear thinker. In the process of learning, understanding, and gaining knowledge, the thinking style for the intellectual soul path is logical linear rather than a whole thinker. You are analytical, sequential, and rational, and respond to data and cold, hard facts. You like step-by-step instructions and need to understand what the expected outcome will be. Creative process. With an intellectual soul path, your concepts and ideas are progressive and based on a backward-looking factual foundation. Fascinating, isn't it? You look at what others have done and use these external stimuli to create. And that's absolutely brilliant. Fostering creativity within yourself includes having many examples and ideas. For example, if you are creating a map, you would benefit from seeing examples of maps created by others. This stimulates your ideas, encourages you to build on what you see. The experiencing of time for an intellect. You're experiencing time as one step at a time, in a logical progression with theoretical awareness rather than all at the same time. Your subjective to experience of time is that one event follows another in succession, and when the event is over, it becomes a memory. Time has an order to it, and intellect's memories are quite general rather than being overly detailed. For those who experience time all at the same time, their subjective experience of time is that they are not always discerning about which event or memory came first. Sometimes they have little distinction between past and present events. Their time perception is often everything that has happened and everything that is happening now. I as well, I have that way of looking at time. Everything to me is happening right now. Even when I was a child, what happened to me then is just as present as it is now. And then to have a dark intellectual, expert path, to be looking at it as time has an order to it. Then I have the other side of me that it's all happening right now. The rhythm of the Tao for the intellectuals. The Tao is the natural order of the universe and keeps the world balanced and flowing. Wind energy is the Tao energy that matches intellectuals. When light and expanding, wind energy represents kindness and generosity and is always moving and gentle. When dark and collapsed, wind energy is strong, unsettling, and destructive. Your intellectual soul path embodies the natural energy of wind. There's a language for the intellectual soul path. Language is responsible for clear communication and successful interactions with others. Language helps you understand and cope with emotions. And it is the genesis of critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making. Language helps you make sense of your experiences and the world around you. Your conscious use of specific vocabulary brings about positive changes in your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. There are words, affirmations, intentions, and prayers that really resonate with you and help you approach things from your soul perspective. These are important at any time and can really help you cope with any negative thoughts, feelings, or behaviors. Words for us intellectuals. Words are pockets of energy, and the word that resonates with intellectual soul path is think rather than feel. For example, you could ask, did you think this through? Or, what do you think? This word really helps you respond to situations from an intellectual perspective. For intellectuals, think is a word that you can use to connect your wisdom and your higher self. Here's how you can share these words that work for an intellectual with your family and friends and say to them, like, these words would really help me if there's something that you would like to ask. You can share with them, what do I think? You can ask them to ask you, what do you think? What is the logical next step? Or what is the logical outcome? Or have I taken enough time to think this through? Or is this what I think or someone else's opinion? Other expansive words for the intellectual category are commanding, curious, inquisitive, inner power, sharing blessings, supercharged, always moving, a unique mind, taking time to think things through, being kind. The affirmation for intellectual category is an I am statement. And the I am statement is a way for you to align with the universe, the energy, God, whomever you choose. It reminds you of who you are and how you want to feel. An affirmation is a positive statement, confirming something to be true. Affirmations can be introduced consciously or subconsciously. For example, they can be introduced through artwork, audio, or even video recordings. For intellectuals, the I am statement is, I am intellect, and I am curious and connected, and I do choose to be kind. Setting an intent for us intellectuals. For an intention is a guide, a principle in life, a target to aim for. It is a stated desire to be a certain kind of person who lives a certain kind of life. In medicine, intention is recognized as the process for healing. For intellects, the intention is, my intention is to live as a kind, gentle, curious, and connected person who uses inner power and energy to make life better. And this is a great reminder for intellects when they're going into a dark thought, when they're feeling that everyone around them is stupid, because this will help shift you out of it. Remember, you're generous and you're kind. A prayer for the intellectual category. For prayer is a spiritual communion with the soul and higher self, an appeal or request to live in a state of grace. An additional prayer for you intellectuals is, I breathe in generosity and I breathe out withholding. I breathe in kindness and I breathe out restriction. Easy to remember. Take your time and think about it, but do give it a chance. Wellness secrets for intellectual soul paths. Well, there are wellness secrets to your body and health that are unique to you with an intellectual soul path. Understanding your wellness at this metaphysical level allows you to set yourself up for a healthy living. You can make positive choices and take actions that leads to your well-being. The metaphysical umbilicus for intellects is the pineal gland, shaped like a tiny pine cone in the middle of your brain, from front to back and side to side. Right behind what us spirituals use as our connection, our third eye, right behind, down here, right behind. When you put your focus and intention on your pineal gland, it is like running an invisible umbilical cord up to your soul, connecting you to your wisdom and helping you feel curious and connected. And I'm going to throw in the word allowing. It is very soothing for you to gently massage or tap the top of your head. It's like this, or massage the top of your head. You can also have your eyes follow your finger. It's like this. Just like that. Or any other object. From left to right and up and down. This creates a deep sense of connection to the higher self. It's a strong focal point. It's even more effective when you say along with it your affirmation, I am intellectual and I am curious and connected and I choose to be kind. Great way to honor yourself, to be kind to yourself and those around you. Health sensitivity. Each of the soul path categories in the soul path work has a health sensitivity. This is not to say that you will experience ill health in this area, but rather that it is possible, a predisposition, and something to keep an eye on is what this is about. Just in the same way your family health history plays a role in your future wellness. If symptoms show up, speak to your healthcare provider. For intellectuals, your health sensitivity is your nervous system, your brain, spinal cord, and nerves. Really nurture this. de-stressor for this? Calm rejuvenation for intellectuals is a vacation from your busy brain. So what does that look like for you? Anything that is diverting is just as good as a quiet meditation for you. Jigsaw puzzles, audiobooks, word games, or just about anything that holds your attention and gives your mind a break from its constant ruminating. Singing a favorite tune also relaxes your brain and releases endorphins to make you feel good. So just imagine that, us intellects. Just sing a song or be distracted from something that is a good feeling for you to put your focus on. And just imagine all those endorphins freeing up off of your brain. Like it's magical. A home environment low on stress really supports intellectuals. Well, pretty much anybody, actually. Taking care of yourself includes appropriate mental distractions, such as reading podcasts, yay, movies and guided meditations, positive experiences that engage your mind and allow for mental relaxation. 5 senses. Of the 5 senses, the most powerful for intellectuals is sound. You have a sensitivity to sound and are very disturbed by anything discordant or noisy. This includes sharp sounds, jarring music, or loud voices. It's important to note that the ear regulates the sense of balance, equilibrium, and well-being. There's emotional triggers, yes, for you intellects, as me as well. I am a dark intellect. So the emotional trigger is limiting beliefs that provide opportunities for personal growth. Limiting beliefs are perceived truths that you hold about the world and about yourself. For the intellectual, the limiting belief is they are out to get me and I am exploited. This limiting belief creates unconscious feelings of being used, abused, overburdened, overworked, and taken advantage of. The triggers for this limiting belief are feelings of scarcity, a feeling that there isn't enough. Also, an inability to accept happiness for yourself and for others, as well as worrying that life as you know it will be taken away. The behavior that results in shrinking and cowering, stinginess, meanness, and unkindness. The reprogramming transformation is moving from being withholding to being generous, and to catch yourself when you slip into the mindset of scarcity. The antidote is being inclusive and accepting of others, focusing on sharing blessings and being kind. I would suggest sitting and just taking a deep breath in, focus on your pineal gland, and release it all. Just feel your face and your pineal gland and even your brain just relaxing, knowing that your intent is to be more curious instead of being scared. To overcome this limiting belief, you will feel not taken advantage of if you tap into your intellectual and innate kindness. Who you're going to be as an intellectual person who is curious, tap into that. Who needs time to process, be kind and acknowledge that. And is unique and kind to self as well as others. Very important. I am intellectual and I am curious and I am connected. There's a matching vibration for intellectuals. Very fun. There are certain physical items that have the same energy as an intellectual soul path. things that vibrate at your wavelength. And these provide a wonderful, positive, lifelong addition throughout your life. Intellectuals have a special color, a unique gemstone, and your own essential oil. A shape, a flower, an animal instinct, a musical instrument that enhances your energy and helps you feel great. As I read these out, I would really like you to think about how and really do own the understanding that each of these has the exact energy to assist an intellectual soul path. Each of these. So incorporating it into your space, really to enhance your great mind. I strongly suggest you do this. Well, I do it all the time. As an example, I'm wearing purple today because that is the color for me to wear today, to enhance my intellect, to be courageous, to do the studies that I really love to study on, and own it. So color. The color for intellectuals is purple. That's what I'm wearing. Any shade of purple. Darker colors have a softer vibration than lighter colors. Purple commands attention and respect. It stimulates the mind and brings awareness of potentials. Purple can be introduced in bedding, clothing, or decor. The gemstone, of course, for intellectuals is amethyst. This gemstone brings good fortune. It clears personal energy and promotes clear thinking and respect. Gemstones may be placed in the bedroom, kept in a pocket, or worn as jewelry. I have a beautiful, beautiful amethyst gemstone fountain. So it has water that streams through it ever so delicately. The color of it and the visualization of it and the sound of the water trickling is so calming and meditative. It does capture my attention. It's a positive focus, one of many tools that I use to honor my intellect. The essential oils for intellectual is the essential oil orange. It promotes feelings of happiness and generosity and joyful and positive thoughts. Essential oils are highly and lightly spritzered onto porous materials such as clothing and bed linens to have it around you more, to have the oil assist you in the calming. And orange has that citrus freshness. It gives the brain, the pineal gland, that fresh spark of ideas. Shape. The upright rectangular shape represents the intellectual person who is curious, needs process, and is unique and kind. Upright rectangular shapes can be introduced in creative play and artwork, as well as ornaments in the home. It can be a mirror. It could be an own piece of artwork in a rectangular shape. It could be, any kind of colorful artwork that has purple in it as well. Incorporate that in it. It would be beautiful. Remember, this is to help your great mind on a positive focus. And it is an energy that is matched for the intellectual category. There is a flower. Lilacs, of course, have the same energy as intellectuals. Metaphysically, lilacs represent wisdom and new thoughts. They are thought of a magical dew to their intoxicating fragrance. Just like intellects can just capture people by their wisdom and the time that they have taken to learn and read about things. It's the same as a lilac. To stand in a lilac garden or have the bush in your property or in your home or a plant, it's breathtaking. It's captivating. And it is an energetic match to intellect. The animal instinct for intellects is the hawk. Hawk has the same energy as an intellectual. Hawks are instinctive, calm, and freedom loving. They are faithful and dependable. They offer sage counsel and advice. You can see how it matches an intellectual. Intellectuals, when they're in their light, they're calm and they speak ever so clearly and kindly and wise. And it's captivating. Musical instrument, keyed instruments like the piano, keyboard, synthesizer, and organ are perfect energy matches for the intellectual. Just imagine that. Hey, that's a study. You want to try? Get a keyboard or piano, why not? Give it a thought. That's a good thing to study on, a good focal point. Well, there are 3 soul paths in the intellectual category. There are, and they are fantastic. You also have a path connected to your intellectual category, which describes your special and unique gifts and greatness. The paths of the intellectual category are controller, and an intellectual controller is you are a visionary. For an intellectual expert, the expert is the other path in the intellectual category. You are a specialist. Muhammad Ali was an intellectual expert, and it's truth when he said, I am the greatest. Experts take time to think things through. They are amazing. Intellectual lateral thinker. Yes, you think outside the box. You bring all of the ideas and possibilities in like crazy, crazy ideas. You can't even keep up with them. So I strongly suggest for all 3, though, intellectual soul paths, write your ideas down. Whether you're a controller, an expert, or a lateral thinker. The reason is, now think about this. When you write something down of an idea that interests you or is something that you're curious about and you want to take a deep study in at another time, because you're at the moment so full of other ideas, writing it down frees it up. Because intellectually, underneath all that, you know that the idea will not be lost. So you don't need to worry about keeping it present. Write it down, free up the space. And then go back into your book and see what your idea was. See if that resonates with you at this time. Like the piano. Okay, I had an idea, thinking I want to write a piano. Instead of sitting there and giving it a lot of thought, because we need time and we can trip ourselves up, just write it down. Learn piano. Close the book. Come back into your book at another time. Does learn piano fit good with you at this time? Nope. Doesn't mean it was a bad idea. Not one bit. How could it be you thought of it? Not a bad idea. The world needs you to share your great mind. It's very simple. It is very, very simple to understand that, but we do need you to take your time and to read and to think things through. But please always remember, be kind. Not everyone is here to experience the physical experience as an intellectual, but we sure do love to hear what you have to say. So please, be kind and be generous.